Hi, this is not a subject of video I wish to produce, but we do need to think about coronavirus and indeed how it can affect UK landlords and their rental income. Watch this video as I go into more details. So before I start, I must admit I am not an expert at all in the coronavirus, what it is, where it's come from, how it really will affect us in the UK or indeed globally. But I wanted to share this map with you, which you can have a look. There's a URL below this video that talks about the spread of coronavirus and where it is. And I thought I should do this video because one person has died in the UK. It is the first person that we know of, and we are now into triple figures. And the first thing that's brought to my mind is, well, how are my friends and family going to be? And the second thing is, well, what about my clients and their landlords and property investors that have got properties and they depend on the income coming from those properties? Now, the things I want to bring to your attention are things like the holiday let cancellations. I'll talk about insurances later on, but ultimately, you may have, this is now Friday, you may be expecting someone on a Saturday or a Sunday. Now, if they're ill, they are not going to be able to get to that property. Again, we'll talk about refunds, cancellations later. More importantly, if they're in that property and they are ill, whilst they're staying in that property, what will happen? Ultimately, they may have to stay in that property way beyond their booking arrangement. And how would that affect your income? Because are you going to be expecting them to pay whilst they're ill? Now, they will have insurances, but that's going to take some time to pay you. And if they are ill in your holiday let, it could mean that the next booking has to be delayed because the virus can stay on the surfaces of worktops for up to 10 days, according to the NHS website. So we need to be very, very mindful of the people that's coming in. So the one recommendation I would have for you is to contact the guests that are staying in your property in the next 2 days and just check on to see how they are, make sure their travel arrangements, because they may not be ill, but they may be considering this panic world that we are in, that we're going to just hibernate in our homes, we're not going to move. And that could be even worse for you because now panic could be setting in for all holiday let makers and decide not to go to your property and may not even tell you and try and cancel very quickly. So do stay in good communication with your guests before, during, and indeed after they have left your property. Now, the other side to it is tenants. Now, you may have a buy-to-let property, you have tenants. What if they're ill? Now, we are hearing, even us as a firm, are asking our staff members to stay at home and work from home. Now, that means they're pretty much in isolation. They need to be looking after themselves as you would expect. But what if one of those tenants in your property becomes ill and then is not able to work? For a lot of people, if they are not able to work, they may be on 0-hour contracts, they may be working in contract times, and they don't get paid. What happens to your rental income? Well, I don't think you are going to be paid if they live week to week or month to month. So again, one thing I would say to you is be in regular contact with your tenants and find out what you can do, if anything, to help them. Ultimately, there may be a loss of rental income for your rental business, and that can have a major impact on you because you still have to pay your mortgage interest payments and you've got your utility bills, potentially if you've got HMOs, but people aren't living. Indeed, if you're in a HMO and one person is ill, what happens to the other people in your HMO? Do they all have to leave? And if they have to leave, at what point can they come back into the property? Should they be paying you rent whilst they're living out the property because it's not their fault? I don't know where we stand on this, but it is worth you thinking about your insurances and what they might be telling you next. Coronavirus is something that on the NHS website tells us what we can do, so make sure we wash our hands. We should also use ethanol to clean your property, and we need to monitor the situation. If someone's getting ill, make sure that they are isolated as much as possible. Not very nice, I appreciate. Does this relate just to us? No, it could relate to your tenants. So the sooner you can let them know about the safeguards that they can put in place, the better. So make sure you're in regular contact with your tenants in your buy-to-let properties, your HMOs, and give them these guidance because not everyone is going to be aware of them. If you've got ethanol cleaning products, maybe you give it to your tenants. It gives you an opportunity to see how they are, but ask them to clean the property as much as possible. Even giving them tissues to dispose of once they've had a cough or a sneeze, and they dispose of it just to minimize the risk of getting this virus. At the NLA, there's a website that the NLA have produced. I am going to put this in the URL, so hopefully that is useful content. I've given you a summary version of it, so hopefully you're 50% there. But if you wanted more details, do go to the NLA website. And finally, this is this is Air BnB, and they talk about cancellations. Now, typically, they do have an insurance term to say that you can't cancel within a certain number of days. Well, that's been really minimal now because with the coronavirus, they're saying that people should be able to cancel their booking within a day of them going to the property. And to be honest, maybe that's a good thing for you because you don't want someone sick in your property, which means you've got to fumigate the place and you've got to keep the property empty for a good period of time. How many days? I think you need to take advice on that one as well. But ultimately, they will be cancelling on you. It's short notice. Again, you are going to have this reduced rental income come into your holiday let property. Do check out the Airbnb site about their cancellation policies. I will put a link in this below this video for you. Is this now a good time for thinking about the guaranteed rent? Now, the NLA put a product on maybe 2-3 years ago whereby they guarantee your rent even if the payments could not be made by your tenant. Is this now an opportunity for you as a UK landlord, or indeed if you're global, do you have such products around you to make sure you protect your income at all times? The URL for that about guaranteed rent is also below this website, but I do suggest you think about this because it can help you around voids. But now we have coronavirus and we may have other viruses going on after this because of SARS and various other things that have been kicking off of late. Maybe it's time that we start to protect our income as much as possible from these properties. And again, the URL is below this video and hopefully it's been helpful. Ultimately, guys, do protect yourself at all times. I'm not saying be a hermit and stay at home, but do protect yourself. Make sure you have tissues that you do cough and sneeze into. Dispose of those. Wash your hands at all times, no matter where you are, what you're doing. Try and get some clean hand wipes that have got ethanol base to clean your hands properly. I'm not sure if ethanol is very good on your hands, but do something to protect yourselves. Yeah, what more can I say? Just keep healthy, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. My name is Simon Misiewicz, and I'll see you soon.